primarily is focused on developing self-actualized leaders, and the world needs large number of self-actualized leaders. You can consider that realization as understanding of your own potential. So self-actualization is about converting that potentiality into actuality. The primary job of the leader is to create laws, rules, guidelines for human civilizations. So it is very critical for a leader to be on the self-actualized state. It is a full-time job of a mentor to craft a leader, to become a factory of generating leaders.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Influence podcast. And today we have a really special guest with us, Chief Mentor Hitesh Chandel. Hi sir, how are you?
I'm doing good. What about you?
Amazing, fantastic,
Great.
just surviving the hot. You know me, you've seen my 3 or 4 podcasts. You know me as a founder of Influence, but you're meeting Mr. Hitesh for the first time. Hitesh sir, how would you like to introduce yourself?
You can call me Chief Mentor Hitesh Chandel
Okay.
because this is the profession I'm into.
Okay.
I'm into mentoring of the leaders,
Mm-hmm.
CEOs, as well as politicians.
Okay. So when we talk about mentoring, what kind of mentoring is that?
Primarily is focused on developing self-actualized leaders,
Okay.
because this is what we feel is a great deficit in the world today, and the world needs large number of self-actualized leaders to play their role and take the world towards recovery.
Recovering. Okay, that's something important, and we'll get back to the recovering part. I want to know about your beginning. Like, how did you come across this role, and why did you choose this role?
Yeah, in this role, it was all I would consider as predestined
Okay.
by the design of this universe. Otherwise, I started my career with IT profession.
Okay.
I basically belong to a lower middle class family,
Mm-hmm.
and from there, just like the bandwagon of joining IT was in boom
Yeah.
when we passed the college. So I was one amongst those large number of people who have joined that bandwagon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to know more about the self-actualization. When I hear the word self-actualize, it comes to me as something like a person is introspective towards his work. Please tell me what is it?
Yeah, introspection is one of the element that a self-actualized leader practices.
Okay.
But overall self-actualization is much more than that.
Okay.
You must have heard about self-realization quite often. So you can consider that realization as understanding of your own potential,
Okay.
right? But that potential, if it is not converted into a tangible, meaningful outcome for the world, then it just remains a realization of one person to himself.
Oh.
So self-actualization is about converting that potentiality into actuality.
Okay.
So this is where this key term that we use, self-actualization, makes sense.
Okay. So to put it in a layman word, if I am a leader, like I'm the team leader of my startup. Uh, I introspect a lot about my potential. I introspect a lot about the company's potential, and you are exactly helping me to convert that potential into real results, like
Yeah,
real values that I can translate into my company's policy.
exactly.
Right.
So knowing about the potential of yourself, your team, your company is first part of it.
Okay.
You can say the theory part of the action. And converting
Right.
that realization into actualization is the real practical outcome of it.
So tell me, what does self-actualization in leaders mean? Like, what is the root of this?
For a leader whose responsibility is to make decisions, and sometimes very quick decisions,
Hmm.
and also to become a lighthouse for other people to follow them.
Hmm.
So it's like becoming a source of direction.
Okay.
So all these things should come from a very high consciousness.
Okay.
If the decisions are coming from lower consciousness, if the direction is coming from lower consciousness, then all those people who are following that leader will also be following the wrong direction or a lower consciousness direction.
Hmm.
So it is very critical for a leader to be on the self-actualized state and take decisions based on principles rather than whims and fancies of his mind. Right? So for that, self-actualization is a critical achievement that all leaders should have.
So when you talk about the principles, are you the one who inculcates or teaches them those principles, or they have to realize it themselves?
So there are two ways to learn these principles. And just to take a step back, this universe functions based on eternal principles.
Okay.
The principles with which this universe is designed. For every action, equal and opposite reaction is already programmed in the ecosystem. So there are several such eternal principles which are governing this ecosystem. Now, second layer of principles is natural laws.
Okay.
The principles of nature, which depends upon space and time. The eternal principles are beyond space and time, but the natural laws are within space and time.
Okay.
Now, the primary job of the leader is to create laws, rules, guidelines for human civilizations. And if these guidelines, laws, policies, procedures are not in alignment with these natural laws and eternal principles, then they are bound to produce pain into people's lives.
Okay. So basically, your course or whatever your teachings are, they'll make a leader more responsible and more calibrated towards their goal.
Their goal and even the goals are calibrated towards the principles.
Okay.
Right? And as I was saying, that there are two ways to learn these principles. One is direct cognition, where a leader directly understands this by connecting with the universe. And the second option is to learn it through secondary observation.
Okay.
Which means learning it from another primary observer. So this is where the coaching, the mentoring for the leaders can take place. Learning from a primary observer and becoming a secondary observer of these principles to start with. And later on, of course, after a lot of practice, the leader can also become the primary observer of these principles.
Okay. I have a critical question in mind. तो आप कह रहे हैं कि आप टीचर आप लीडर्स को मेंटर करते हैं, you basically train them in becoming good leader. But if a leader needs training, does that leader really deserve to be a leader? If they are not enlightened by themselves, do they even deserve to be at that position to lead people?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So as I mentioned, there are two ways. One is to become primary observer directly. But primary observation is not the only faculty through which human beings can learn. They can learn through the experience, through the knowledge, through the research of other people. Otherwise, everyone has to reinvent the wheel, right? But we learn it from other people's research. So leaders can also do that. Who is stopping the leaders to learn it from other people? There are several false understandings and beliefs related to various subjects in the world. One of which is that leaders are like born leaders; they cannot be created, which is not true.
Okay.
Right?
So you're saying the leaders are not born?
They can
There
be
are some
leaders on their own.
Okay.
Right? Without getting any external mentoring or support from mentors, but they can also be crafted. It is a full-time job of a mentor to craft a leader, to become a factory of generating leaders.
Oh, I understand now. So basically, for a person to be a leader, they just need to have the will to be a leader.
Yeah.
Either they're profound by themselves, or they just find some source, a source like you, to just guide them through the right process and shortcut the process of self-consciousness.
Yeah, you can even relate this with any other learning.
Yeah.
For example, you can learn about a monument like Taj Mahal on your own also.
Okay.
You visit that place, have your own observation, and just roam around the monument and have your own primary observation. But if you have a guide with you, right, who knows more about that monument than you, then he can give you a wealth of information in shortest time possible. Right? Same can be applied to any domain, any learning. You can learn anything on your own.
Okay.
But getting an external help of a mentor will make it faster.
How can I trust a mentor? For example, if you gave me an example of Taj Mahal, a guide can easily manipulate my feelings. If I'm a Hindu, he would provoke me that this was a Shiva temple. It is very easily manipulatable for a teacher to just drift apart, just to make the student drift apart somewhere. How would you put yourself there? How
Yeah, it's
can
a
I trust you
very,
as a leader?
very good addition to your previous question, because it's a double-edged sword.
Hmm.
If the mentors themselves have defective learning
Hmm.
or they are biased in their teachings,
Yeah.
then yes, this is a vulnerability which is there in the mentoring.
Hmm.
And second challenge would be that it is easier to supervise the performance and knowledge of people below your role,
Hmm.
but it's not easy to supervise your own superior.
Yeah.
A person who is playing a higher role than you.
Yes.
For a leader to judge whether the mentor himself is in right direction or not is very difficult.
Hmm.
But that's the challenge which everyone faces. So you have to do your due diligence. You have to make your checklist of understanding whether the mentor is supposed to be in the right direction or not,
Okay.
and then choose a mentor and work under or learn under the guidance of that mentor.
What are your goals when you mentor someone?
So
What drives you?
my goal and my driving factor is to deliver a leader to this ecosystem,
Okay.
regardless of the organization or a group of organizations a person would lead. Because ultimately, if any organization in the ecosystem is led in the right direction,
Hmm.
it will contribute in creating an ideal ecosystem.
Okay.
However, if it is led by a person who is himself in the wrong direction,
Hmm.
then it will create more pains into the lives of people. This is how cause and effect also works. So my driving factor is that I should deliver a leader who stays in the right direction.
Why do you think people need to be led?
Basically, everyone needs direction in their life
Hmm.
to take even one action.
Okay.
We cannot even step one foot forward without knowing or without believing that we are in the right direction.
Okay.
So, direction is a prerequisite for actions.
Okay.
Now, if we enable our internal faculties
Hmm.
to get that direction directly from the source,
Hmm.
then it is easy. You can
Okay.
move forward with your own intuitions, with your own internal source
Hmm.
enablement.
Hmm.
But suppose it is not enabled,
Hmm.
because by default it is not enabled in everyone, right?
Hmm.
So this generates the need of somebody leading you or somebody leading human beings
Hmm.
who is supposedly knowing that direction,
Okay.
right? So instead of light coming from inside, it has to come from outside. If it
Okay.
is not coming from inside, it has to come from outside.
Hmm.
So it's like every ship needs a lighthouse.
Hmm.
Although you can drive a ship or pilot a ship without lighthouse also,
Hmm.
but then the uncertainties will be higher,
Hmm.
right? That's why knowingly or unknowingly, human beings tend to create or tend to select somebody as their ideal
Hmm.
and start following the path taken by that person. This is how they get the directions.
Do you think there is a possibility that being a leader and being able to follow someone or needing to follow someone is one of our primal instincts as an animal when we were back to the caveman times?
Yeah, you can take it from that angle also, from that
Hmm.
perspective. Overall, it is about the entire human civilization is wherein you follow those people whom you think
Hmm.
that they are ahead in the journey of their evolution,
Hmm.
and you become the guide to those people
Hmm.
whom you think that they are still lacking, they're still lagging behind. So in a way, we become lighthouse or direction provider to each other.
Hmm.
This is how human communities grow, and it's not like restricted to
Hmm.
one person following another person in everything.
Hmm.
Even the reverse is true, vice versa is true. I may follow you
Hmm.
for certain aspects
Yep.
of life, and you may follow me in certain aspects of life,
Fair enough.
right? No human being can be an expert in every domain of humanity,
Yes.
right? Suppose I'm not a rocket scientist.
Hmm.
If I have to learn something about rocket science, I have to follow the eminent people of rocket science domain,
Correct.
right? But when it comes to subject of self-actualization, then yes, I think I can give those guidance to people who are seeking self-actualization.
How do you give guidance? Like, tell me about your structure, about the organization.
So basically, the gyan, the wisdom, the eternal principles will remain same,
Okay.
right? They are already there in the ecosystem, already programmed, already the intelligence is there, and they can be learned through intuitions, right? However, one person's intuition cannot become other person's intuition directly. So the intuition has to be converted into some logic, some framework, some encapsulation into a product. So in my case, I have converted my realizations into a product, a training program, mentoring program called as Self-Actualized Leadership Development Program.
Okay.
So that is very well structured. It has high number of graphical representation about the design of our human machine, our microcosm, and it also has the design for our macrocosm.
Okay.
So whenever a human being takes decisions or actions,
Okay.
he is operating between these microcosmic universe and macrocosmic universe only. So knowing the design of both of these is very critical to take right decisions. And this is what our program, SALDP, that is Self-Actualized Leadership Development Program, gives to people.
You have created a graph, a path for everyone to follow, but the goals can be different.
Yes, even the path is not just a prescription, right? The path, the framework is such that you can derive your own path based on the framework of the principles.
Right.
So no preaching, it's a derivation model.
Very nice. So it can be something like, if I take this ball, I put up multiple nails in it, and if I drop a ball, that ball will be able to decide where it wants to go.
Yeah, it's like
Making its own path.
opening a participant of the program to many possibilities, which he was not aware of before doing the program.
Okay.
So now, out of these several possibilities, he can choose some of them as the mission of their life. Without this guidance, even to figure out what all are the possibilities may be a very time consuming process for the person, or sometimes it may be a wait till the death in this life.
Okay.
So what this program does is it creates a buffet of choices of various missions in front of the people, and every participant can choose what suits most to his heart and to his soul, right? So accordingly he can decide.
I have again a critical question. If you are giving a person a structure to make a structure for himself, a path to make his own path, we can think of two extreme leaders. So first is Adolf Hitler, and other one is Martin Luther King. These are two great leaders we know. They have their own personal agendas. They had their own audience. A leader was not bad for its audience, for bad for the world. And similarly, a leader was good for his audience and good for the world as well. If you are giving that amount of power to a person to reach to that level, how does this stand ethically?
So it's a very deep question. First of all, yes, by learning the leadership principles, somebody may misuse it also, right? And he may become a great leader in a wrong direction. This is where SALDP has its USP.
Okay.
It helps a person not only derive the right direction, but also creates observation parameters in his mind so that even by error, he won't choose the wrong direction.
Okay.
Right? Because there is a lure of wrong direction also.
Yep.
Right? Because if a person, suppose, drops the reason for becoming a leader to his own personal name, fame, and money, then this knowledge, this wisdom
It all can
be
backfire.
utilized to earn that also.
Yes, it can be bad for the world.
Yeah. But the observer that is set through SALDP is such that a person will not do it. Right? It is like he is always aware that, as you have heard famous tagline of an advertisement, "Upar wala sab dekh raha hai."
Okay.
So once a person is aware that everything is under observation, and I cannot get away from the consequences of doing or going into wrong direction, so it acts as a deterrence. You can say it as a deterrence, but at the same time, it acts as a guide for a person to stay in the right direction.
Okay. How would a person know that it's the right or the wrong direction? Because the concept of right and wrong are very subjective to every situation and geography.
Yes. So this is where the leaders are needed,
Okay.
right? That's why,
Okay. Coming back to the original
I
thing.
responded to the previous question that not everyone can derive the direction. Forget about right or wrong, even they can't derive the direction, and that stalls their progress.
Okay.
Right? Suppose if somebody is not clear about the direction and he is not a risk taker, so he will stay where he is. Right? So having direction is important. Now, having the right direction is more important and critical.
Okay.
And how to derive that? Right? What is the prerequisite? What exactly is the direction? So you can derive that from the understanding of 2-3 concepts.
Okay.
I'll just quickly tell you. For every journey to take, and you can relate that with Google Maps.
Okay.
Right? For every journey to take and to get the direction, you need 2 prerequisites. What are they?
From and where?
From and where. Right? Source and destination.
Yes.
And direction is nothing but a straight line connecting the source with the destination.
Yep.
So that means in order to be aware about the direction all the time, you need to be clear about source and the destination every moment. So in SALDP, destination is taught in such a way that it is difficult for people to unlearn it.
Nice.
Right? So once they have learned the destination, they may still have an error of diagnosing where they are. Right? In Google Maps, of course, GPS is connected with it, so you know your location.
Right.
If you don't know the source, you can just tell the Google your location.
Right.
Right. So locating this your location is also possible through SALDP. You can locate where you are.
Okay.
Right. And if you don't know where you are anyways lost. Right.
Yeah.
And if you don't know where you are going, then also you are lost. So
Right.
that's why direction is about knowing both of these every moment of your life.
So the kind of structure that you're telling me, it sounds to me like a very spiritual aspect of personal growth, self-actualization, then implementing those things. These are terms which I've heard mostly with spiritual leaders. But spirituality is mostly related to your personal life. And what you are teaching is spirituality in your professional life. Is that so?
Yeah, in fact, this is, I would say, one of the biggest errors that have come into collective human consciousness in last few millenniums.
Okay.
Wherein personal life, like the worldly life and the spiritual lives were considered as antonyms to each other.
Yeah.
Like were considered as if you have to select only
Either
one of them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the reality is that the human design is such that we need both.
Yep.
Right?
And that too
जिसको होता है, दोनों क्यों
simultaneously.
नहीं?
Yes.
Right? Simultaneously, दोनों क्यों नहीं? Personal life is very much part of our professional life.
Yeah.
And professional life is very much part of our personal life.
Definitely.
Right? So since last few decades, thankfully, people have started accepting that spirituality is not just limited to few seekers who want to get some salvation, nirvana, or kind of independence or liberation from this cycle of birth and death. Right? Spirituality is now being understood in a very rational way.
Okay.
Right? So yes, it is sounding spiritual because there is a very profound reason to it. Human existence is in 4 dimensions.
Okay.
Body, heart, mind, and soul.
Okay.
And all of these are our faculties to take decisions.
Okay.
If somebody is only in his body consciousness, then all his decisions and driving factors will be related to fulfillment of needs of the body.
Okay.
Now, if the person evolves up to the level of heart, then the driving factors and the why of his working becomes the needs of the heart.
Okay.
Whatever he feels good
Hmm.
for himself, he will take, and whatever he feels as not good, he will reject. Now, if a person evolves to the third dimensions of existence,
Hmm.
which is buddhi or intellect,
Hmm.
which we can call as mind also.
Hmm.
So the person's driving factor at this stage becomes what is right and wrong as per the principles.
Got it.
So the third faculty is enabled.
Hmm.
Now the fourth faculty, which is our soul,
Hmm.
right? It's not touched by almost 99% of the population.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe it is due to its absence in our formal education system, or making it something so mystical or unachievable
Could
that
it
people
be
don't even try.
Could it be the overexposure of America towards our corporate structures and stuff?
Uh, Overexposure towards America, I would take it in a different way, that it's part of our evolution journey.
Okay.
And I would say something which may look blasphemous to several religious mindset.
We want spice.
Yeah, I would say that America is more spiritual than India, right?
Nice. Good one.
Because in today's world, we feel that India is the spiritual capital of the world,
Okay.
right? But the reality is that India could be religious capital of the world. There are so many religions which are born in India,
Hmm.
and a large population in India is religious. But America is more spiritual. Why? Because several of their people have reached to the level of rationality. They have transcended beyond the boundaries of body needs and the heart needs, and they are working to fulfill their mind needs, which is the third level of evolution.
Hmm.
The fourth level of evolution that we're talking about, soul. The purpose of soul within our human existence is observation.
Hmm.
And it is only through the soul's faculty that we will come to know about destination
Yeah.
and direction.
Hmm.
Right? So how could it be not part of our personal life? How it could be not part of our professional lives? Are we saying that we want to be in a personal and professional life without knowing the destination? And if we don't know the destination, we don't know the direction also.
Yeah.
So that means we are either lost or we are in the wrong direction.
Hmm.
So more and more people are realizing this fact, that without this spiritual dimension, we are not complete. Our
Yeah.
potential is not fully developed. And this is where you see a lot of penetration and lot of acceptance of relating spirituality with personal and professional life is coming into the collective human
Yeah.
consciousness. It's a good thing.
It's a really good thing. पता है अपनी organization के अंदर I usually tell people that there is literally no difference between your professional and the personal life, because you are present every time with yourself. Whatever is happening around you is also your personal life, because a teammate that you are collaborating with, you are having a one-on-one connection. ऐसा थोड़ी ना है कि you are robots.
Yeah.
You are not like कि you will collaborate with them from 9 to 6 and after 6 you will alienate them. It won't be like that.
Right.
You treat each other as humans. And that's what I always tell कि personal और professional life के अंदर हमने line बना रखी है, but वो है नहीं ऐसा.
Yeah. Actually, in fact, personal life ko we think as if personal life, people connected with us through biological reasons are our family.
Yeah.
But the reality is that definition of family is much more than that.
Exactly.
You can consider people like relatives
Yes.
as your biological family. But then you need a psychological family also,
Yes.
right? And that you can get in your workplace. And increasingly, you must have heard about it, that companies and the owners of the companies, they are calling their workforce as family.
Yeah.
Right? Because in reality, they are family. They are into a relationship. They spend, in fact, more time with the colleagues,
yes,
than the family members.
Yes, yes. That's what
Right?
I've realized here.
And they even talk about those subjects which they don't talk at home.
Yep.
Right? So several new faculties get enabled when we are at our workplace. In fact, our workplace is the platform for us to actualize our potential. Right? So more understanding about this results into further extension of this family definition. And you know, in ancient India, we had a slogan in one of the verses which says Vasudev Kutumbakam.
Yes.
That entire world is our family. And this is not just a slogan, it is reality. It's not even just psychological family, it's a biological family, right? Overall, all human beings are descendant from the same root.
Yeah.
So we are all family.
So Hitesh ji, I want to know about your take on AI. Since you are saying that you are the person who teaches leaders who how to become a leader, and leaders are now increasingly becoming dependent on AI. Do you use AI?
Yeah, I use that.
You use it.
Yes,
Which
yes.
which one is your favorite
I
tool?
use Chat GPT so far.
Okay,
I have not
ChatGPT.
tried others.
You're not trying
Yeah.
this. So in my organization, we use somewhere around 9 to 10 AI tools on a daily basis at any moment. So when you're saying that you produce leaders, how vulnerable are leaders to AI? Because why I'm asking this, because AI can be easily manipulated. AI can be extremely Western driven. How would you take this?
So my take on this is that whether you like AI or not like it, you cannot avoid it.
Okay.
Right? It's a you can consider it as a new species
Okay.
who is creating its own space into our lives, and we cannot avoid that. Right? So if we cannot avoid that, better to be friends with AI
Okay.
rather than becoming enemy and creating enmity for AI. And by being a friend, I mean make positive use of it.
Okay.
Right? Technology is just a neutral thing. Any technology, right? It comes with its own advantages, its use cases, but at the same time, it also comes with the side effects of it.
Right.
And that side effects can also be applied with mobile phones. You can apply that with television also, right? You can apply that with a vehicle as well, right? But what we need to learn is how to make the positive use of the AI.
Okay.
As a leader, it becomes more important, right? To be friends with AI, to utilize it to serve your constituencies, to serve the people you are responsible and accountable for. So it's better to learn it and have its use.
How malleable do you think people are that they start depending on AI and start losing their intellect?
This is one of the side effects,
Yeah.
of course, because when everything comes on your plate as well prepared dish, then it is possible that you will lose the ability to cook, right?
Okay.
So this applies to the various applications of AI also.
Mm-hmm.
So my suggestion on this would be that often take a break from AI
Okay.
and try to do your things on your own. Maybe you can do that once in a while.
Okay.
Instead of going to the Chat GPT or any other tool to generate content for you, write it yourself.
Okay.
So that your mental faculties remain charged up.
Okay.
Right? We don't become over dependent on AI. Right? So it's like, of course, we have cars and other vehicles. We can go point to point through our two-wheelers, four-wheelers also.
Right.
But we can often take a break from it, and we should take and walk.
Okay.
Walk towards our destination. The same can be applied to AI. Do manually. The manual operation should not stop completely.
Yeah, definitely. So the course that you're selling, what's the name again?
It is Self-Actualized Leadership Development Program, SALDP.
SALDP.
Yeah.
So what are the steps of SALDP? For example, I want to ask you a very personal question to me. I have a team of 15 people at Indifluence right now. I am kind of a leader to these people, but I want to grow my team. I want to be a better leader. I want to tell them, I want to make them leaders. I'm the kind of person who would like who would like each one of them to become leaders and expand the team in such a way that it's like uh, the graph that we make, the tree graph that we make. So, what is there for me in SALDP? How would you recommend me things in SALDP that can be useful for me?
Yeah. So, like every startup, every founder of a startup is a leader in the beginning.
Okay.
Right. In fact, he is the whole and soul, and of course, with other co founders. So, he is doing the job of a worker, manager, leader, mentor, everything.
Yeah.
Right. But primarily, he is a leader. A leader's job is to create an organization.
Yep.
Create an organization and then create a momentum for its continuous acceleration. Now, over a period of time, when the organization is sufficiently created, right? So the role of the founder starts becoming more of a manager than a leader, because leader's job is to continuously create,
Okay.
and manager's job is to manage which is already created,
Got it.
right? So there is a vulnerability that a leader of an organization during the initial phases may become demoted later on and become a manager.
Yeah.
So a leader should always try to come out of that drop,
Okay.
right? He should strive to continuously create, because the creation of the organization will not stop even after getting a big size. Even like organizations like Microsoft's and Google's, they can't be run only through the managers.
Yeah.
They have to adopt themselves to the changing market needs. They have to adopt themselves to the times in which we are entering. So all these things has to be done by the leader.
Okay.
So my suggestion for all startup founders would be that whatever you have created, you keep transferring it to others to manage.
Okay.
And you continue to spend or invest your bandwidth as much as possible into leadership work.
Okay.
Right? Like instead of becoming a 25% leader, 75% manager, at least try the reverse.
Okay.
75% leader, only 25% management.
Okay.
And this is not only helpful for the founder, but also for each employee. Right? Because as you grow, the people who have joined you in initial phases will get the maximum opportunities to grow with you, grow with the organization. So they can also follow the same formula.
Okay.
That they keep building the processes, then keep transferring it to others. We call this as an Oboto model in our SLDP program.
Okay.
What is Oboto? It is observe, build, operate, transfer, observe.
Got it.
Right? So become an original observer, then convert that vision into some process, build it, then before delegating it to others, operate it for some time.
Okay.
Because no process can be made foolproof or efficient in first cut.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So once you
will require some
refinements, iterations, and all. So once you feel that you have operated it sufficiently, then transfer it. Now, why the second O? The third O, in fact, O at the end, is don't lose the observation. Even after you have transferred it to other people, keep supervising and observing.
Got it.
Right? So that's the Oboto model, which everyone should follow. You to start with as a founder, and the employees also should follow the same. They should also observe, build, operate, and then transfer to other people.
Okay.
So I have a 3-line mantra for it. I hope that will help your audience. Be the leader of your acquired roles. So whatever role you have acquired, try to play the role of a leader in that. Then be a student of your aspired roles.
Okay.
So whichever role you want to be in future, just become a student to it. Right? And the third line is be the mentor of your expired roles.
Okay.
Right? So don't just stop by taking the delegated task, but also continuously delegate it to others. This is what I was saying, that we are all lighthouses to each other.
Yeah.
Right? We keep navigating through each other's light.
Right? That quote is actually something which I can put on my wall and think about it all the time.
Yeah. This is my original quote, by the way.
Quote.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice. So Hitesh ji, the way you're telling me about SALDP, leadership and spirituality, are there any ancient learnings that you're taking? Because for as far as I can see, it is extremely Vedic inspired way of leading that you are teaching. So would you like to tell something about that?
Yeah. So I have a very unique or different from the how the other people perceive Vedas.
Okay.
I see Vedas as documents of human and material resource management. If I talk in the terms which are being used in organizational circle these days. So it's a human and material resource management system only. So there are 4 parts to it, just like the body, heart, mind, and soul. There are Vedic customs, then where there are Vedic culture, then Vedic laws, and then Vedic principles. Now, the custom, culture, and the laws come under the domain of space and time. And anything which comes into space and time is subject to change.
Definitely.
Which means change in the Vedic customs, cultures, and the laws was part of the design. But when it comes to Vedic principles, they cannot change.
Right.
So we call them as Vedic principles, but they are eternal principles.
Okay.
Right? Eternal principles through which the universe is functioning.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to do is converting that ancient wisdom, those eternal principles, into a language and format which people of today's world can relate with.
Okay.
Regardless of their religion, their culture, their nationalities, right, and their ideological leanings.
Okay.
Right, even their political like philosophy that they are following. You can apply these principles regardless of the space and time. That's the beauty of these principles. So I don't call this as Vedic principle. I generally use the term eternal principles.
Okay.
Eternal principles are like, if I talk in language of Vedas itself, it is Anadi, Anant, Sanatan, Trigunatit, भावातीत, मायातीत, कालातीत.
Okay.
जो काल के भी परे है, बियॉन्ड टाइम, राइट, जो भाव के भी परे है, जो त्रिगुणी प्रकृति, जो तमोगुण, रजोगुण, सत्वगुण से बनी प्रकृति है, उससे भी परे है.
Okay.
So it is beyond space and time. Anything which is beyond space and time is everywhere, every moment.
Right.
Because the location of the object or subject is limited by the space and the time. So if you remove that limitation, then it is beyond space, which means everywhere, and it is beyond time, which means every moment. So principles are like that.
Okay.
They are everywhere, every moment. They don't go away. They are constants. Right?
So you've incorporated all of those principles into SALDP.
In SALDP and in individual and organizational development.
Okay. Okay.
Right? All the principles which were followed by ancient, you can say philosophers, researchers, and wise men,
right,
that can be utilized to solve almost every problem of the world today, including the global warming.
Okay, including global warming.
Including global warming.
Okay. How do you know about the Vedic rules and the universal eternal principles? Have you researched upon them? What's your background on that?
So I have not done any traditional Vedic learning through a Vedic school. All that I have learned is through my self-studies.
Okay.
Self-studies and internal curiosities and a quest for knowledge.
Okay.
So basically I studied Bhagavad Gita almost 150 times. Then I referred to Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Okay.
So that also gave a lot of insight on the how part of it. Right. So these two books, I don't consider them as books of religion. I don't consider them as books of Hinduism. Right? Patanjali Yoga Sutra is a book which talks about
human health.
To elevate, not only health, it talks about how to elevate your observation point.
Okay.
Right? The definition that is given by Patanjali is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Right? Which means a definition of Bhakti Yoga. The definition of practice yoga, which says remove all the vibrations and have a vibration-less observation.
Okay.
Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, that means remove all the obstacles of your observations. And what will happen by doing that? So he says Drashta Swarupavasthana, which means the observer will be located at the right point.
Okay.
Right? So if the observer is in wrong point, he will have a wrong observation. So correcting the observation point is part of yoga. So where is religion in it? It's all eternal principles. And in Bhagavad Gita, the third definition of yoga comes, wherein Krishna says, Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam, which is not a religious text. It says, Karma Yoga is nothing but efficiency in your work. Now you can apply that with any job description. That efficiency in video editing, efficiency in doing podcast, efficiency in mentoring is all Karma Yoga. So I see this ancient text as I said, as a human and material resource management. So I read Bhagavad Gita for 150 times, and I found that it's a communication between a mentor and a leader.
Okay.
Right. The context is that the leader Arjun, who was the key player in the Mahabharat war from the sides of Pandavas, he was getting confused. He was totally lost, and he was not able to take the right decision. And he got an emergency mentoring from Krishna to restore not only the confidence, but also the understanding of why he is here to fight this war.
Okay.
So most of the human beings find such situations in their lives, in personal and professional both, wherein they get confused about what is the right direction for me.
Okay.
So this is where eternal principles of ancient text come to our help.
Okay.
Right. So we can derive solutions to all problems of the world by deriving it through eternal principles.
Got it.
Because you see, the errors come when we deviate from these principles, and the recovery happens when we realign ourselves or recalibrate ourselves to these principles.
Okay.
So now that the world is reaching to a very dangerous situation, we can come back from it, including the global warming, by reversing this process and start taking decisions in the right direction.
So you believe that global warming is reversible?
Yes. So there are reasons, the cause and effect reasons of why it has happened.
Okay.
So there are reasons why it can be reversed. Now, once we agree to why it can be reversed, we can do several iteration, discussion, brainstorming on how it can be reversed.
Will you be reversing it or delaying it?
Reverse. So when we start reversing, we buy more oxygen, right? We get more oxygen. So in a way, it will look like we are delaying this process. So slowing down is also slowing down the global warming is also like reversing it. Right. Once the reversal procedure reaches to a certain level, a threshold, then that reversal will also be visible in actual reversal rather than just slowing down.
Okay.
Right. So the collective efforts of human beings around that will definitely make it possible. And this is one of the major outcomes of SALDP, that if we create 1 million such leaders in India and 10 million all across the world, and these 10 million leaders work in collaboration rather than competition, then we will be able to do that.
Okay.
Right. These 10 million leaders have the ability or the power or authority to involve all 8 billion people into the reversal process.
Okay. That's a huge claim and a huge, a very important goal to be achieved by everyone.
Yeah. So it's like necessity is the mother of invention. So if there is a need is right at the door.
Yeah.
So we have to think out of the box. We cannot just rely on the conventional wisdom to find solutions.
Right.
So this is where the ancient wisdom will help us understand the reasons of it and also motivate us towards the implementation procedure.
Okay.
So they may look blasphemous, they may look too big a claim today.
Okay.
But self-actualized people are made for that. Right? History teaches us that self-actualized people have done something which is unthinkable for others.
Yeah.
Imagine just a few hundred years back, maybe less than 200 years, when somebody had envisioned about an equipment through which you can see something right there at your home, although it is happening somewhere else. Right? And that equipment is now called as TV. So when he was telling this to people around him, all would be laughing on him. And that is true for everything. Mobile phone, radars, or whatever inventions human beings have done. Initially, it is met with skepticism, ridicule, right? And make a person laughing stock. But once he starts proving that on the ground, automatically the acceptance happens.
Okay. Great. Like, that's something heavy to ingest, but I really wish we make that happen. Also, tell me quickly, like SALDP, what's the duration for that?
So basically, it's an 80 hours
80 hours
content. and it is divided into 4 levels:
Hmm.
level 0, 1, 2, and 3,
Okay.
which relate with our dimensions of existence. Like level 0 is about soul,
Okay.
level 1 is about mind, level 2 is about heart, that is subconscious mind, and level 3 is about body.
Okay.
So fixing the defects of all 4 of them
Hmm.
enables and optimizes their faculties.
Okay.
The faculty of soul is observation.
Hmm.
So we need to fix the ideology, we need to fix the obstacles
Okay.
of soul to give it a proper place of observation.
Okay.
Then the faculty of mind is to decide, right? And when a person decides, all the defects of the mind should be fixed so that he can take effective decisions.
Okay.
Then comes the third faculty, which is our subconscious mind or heart. So the primary objective of this subconscious mind is to process the decision which is taken by the mind.
Okay.
Right? Now, the level 2 focuses on enhancing the processing capability of the subconscious mind.
Okay.
Then finally comes our body. So even if the soul envisions and the mind decides and the heart has processed,
The body is not able to function.
unless the body is able to work, it will not happen.
Right.
So we need to fix the defects of the body also.
Okay.
That is the subject of SALDP level 3. So
Okay.
with these 4 levels, all the defects of observation, decision making, processing, and acting are fixed, and a person becomes a highly effective decision maker.
How do I know if I'm capable enough or SALDP is for me or not? If I'm an individual, I aspire to lead. I don't know who to lead, but I have the tendency or like the mindset of a leader. How would I know if SALDP is fine for me?
So basically, it's not only the challenge today, but even if you become a leader of large number of people, you would not come to know whom you are leading.
Okay.
Because when you are on a manager role, you know the people you are managing.
Okay.
But when you are on a leader role, you don't know who all are following you.
Okay.
Right? So you need to be in that zone always as a leader,
Okay.
that you don't know who are following you.
Okay.
And still you need to work for them. Still you need to solve their problems. Still you need to make them continuously follow you.
Okay.
So how would it happen if you don't know them? So thankfully, we can learn the design of this human machine itself, so that regardless of the people, you can create a ripple effect of your work, which can reach to even those people whom you would never meet in your life. Right? So we have classified the consciousness of people into 6 levels: S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, and S6.
Okay.
A person on higher level of consciousness can lead the people who are at a lower level of consciousness than him. A person becomes highly effective leader when he reaches to at least S5.
Would leading be the right word for it or mentor?
So leading and mentoring are 2 different professions.
Okay.
Right? To develop a person from worker to manager, you can say it is a 10 times growth required in the mind of the person.
Right.
So that he can come out of the worker mindset and reach to the management mindset. Now from manager mindset to leader mindset, a person has to grow 100 times more.
Okay.
The mindset has to grow 100 times more. It's a very big leap, right? And then from a leader mindset to a mentor mindset, a person has to grow his mind at least 1000 times.
Okay.
Right? So it is a huge difference between leading and mentoring.
Okay.
And this has been another defect in the collective human consciousness when they say leaders create more leaders. Right? Leaders don't create more leaders. They create very few leaders, but they create large number of managers. On the other hand, it is the full-time job of the mentors to create leaders.
Okay.
Right. So first we need to even
Clarify that. Yeah,
clarify that.
That's a terminology gap that we
right. So once a person understands this S index, S1 to S6, then we also teach them the F index.
Okay.
F index is fulfilled level. S index is seeking level, what you are seeking. And we seek what we feel that we have deficit of it. Right. Then once you seek what you feel deficit of, you also get fulfillment in it.
Okay.
Right. So F index talks about how much we are already fulfilled. And the third index that we teach is P index, provider index. So what you are seeking, you get fulfilled. Now what you are able to provide to the world is your provider index.
Yes.
So in SALDP masterclass itself, we introduce this concept in great detail and create a map through which a person can understand what is his S index, F index, and P index.
So they can get to know about their levels of actualization just through the masterclass.
Masterclass itself is so powerful
Okay.
that they start getting a glimpse of the destination and the source. So as I said, if you are aware of the destination and the source, you start getting the glimpse of direction as well. So in the masterclass itself, some view of the direction is illuminated into the minds of the participants. And then there is a thorough course.
So if you're telling that masterclass is so powerful, it must be 2-3 weeks long at least.
So masterclass is just 1.5 hours.
Okay.
In 1.5 hours itself, it is packed in a way so that people can get a bird's eye view
of where they are in their life.
Yeah. And then it has to be thoroughly developed.
Okay.
So it's like you can relate in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Arjun Samvad or the communication was not more than an hour. Right?
Okay.
Because, Duryodhan, so he would have considered that as a wonderful opportunity to kill both of them. Because Arjun and Krishna were the key players from the sides of Pandava. And he could have ordered somebody to kill both of them because they were in clear line of sight. Right? So spending too much time there was not possible. So you can consider that Arjun got only master class.
Okay.
Right, during the Bhagavad Gita delivery, which has become a full course for all of us. Right, thanks to the author Ved Vyasji, he has elaborated it in 700 verses. But there was no time to discuss in such detail at that time. So this is the right way of learning also, that you first get the glimpse and overview of everything that is there in the content and then learn it thoroughly at a slower pace. Right, and we have in fact made it a self-paced learning.
So is it through an application that you teach the course or what?
Yeah, so we have a learning management system
through
which people complete their like self-paced modules and then they have to fill their assignments.
Okay.
And then for every level they have to appear for a live revision workshop.
Okay.
Wherein they can ask their questions, clarify their doubts. And I also ask questions to them to probe whether they have understood the principles of a particular level. Because the content is like progressive. Without understanding the previous part of the content, you cannot make sense of the next in the next slides content. So it is very important that every aspect of every part of the content is to be learned. So we do that through live online review workshops. Then there are live online tests also.
Okay.
So it's like we consider it as it's not
a
just
full-grown degree.
Yeah, it's a full-grown degree, and it's not just like selling it and making money. It's about delivering a leader. So onus lies on us to deliver an effective leader to the ecosystem.
So it's something like if they get certification from you, they can literally put them on their LinkedIn profiles. That
yes, they can do that. People are doing that.
People are doing that.
Yeah, they are writing that in their resume. And
S-level certification.
Yeah, SALDP certification.
Wow.
And this SFP index is like a magic.
Definitely.
Once a person understands this SFP index, he knows that even if he's dipping in consciousness, the observer part of him can see that he's dipping. So that means you know that you're dipping.
Okay.
So if you don't know that you're dipping, then it means you will continue to function from a lower level of consciousness. Okay. But if you are aware of it, then you can restore it also.
Wow.
Right? So that's the beauty of this program.
Beautiful. That brings us to the end of this conversation. It was lovely to have an interaction with you and getting to know about a whole new dimension of work, leadership, self-actualization, and everything that you just told me. I hope it was pleasant for you as well. I hope I did not offend you.
I would say thanks for inviting me to have this wonderful conversation. Because when good questions are asked, that mind is forced to get to the source and get the answers of it downloaded. So in today's session, it's not only learning for you or the audience, but I would say that I am the biggest student of this session and I've learned a lot from this session. Thanks for inviting me.
Namaste.